Hi everyone! So the fall applications for the DCP are coming out very soon and the date is right around the corner. So I'm making this video because I wanted to help you guys through the application process. This video is going to probably be pretty long because there's just a lot of information to know, especially if you are new to the DCP and you just heard of it and you don't know much about it. So I'm just going to help you guys for some tips on how to be accepted into the Disney College program. I do want to give credit where credit is due. I learned most of this, not most, but a lot of this information comes from a video that I watched when I was applying for the DCP, and it was this girl, her name is Beth Gomez, and she put out an amazing video and it helped me a lot through my application process. So if you want to check that video out, I will link it down below for you guys. And yeah, let's just get started. So there are 3 sections to the application process for the DCP. The first one is the original application, just a run-of-the-mill job application. The second is a web-based interview, and the third is a phone interview. So for the application, it's pretty much normal. There's nothing really special about it except for the preferences that you want to put in that are specific to Walt Disney World. that are specific to Disney. So the first thing, and I'm going based on memory, so it might not be like the exact order that it does it in the application, but there is a section that it asks you for your preferences for Walt Disney World or Disneyland, and a spot where it asks you for your preferences for fall 2015 or Fall Advantage 2015. These preferences, they can be changed if you change your mind in the phone interview, but we'll get to that later. So it's going to ask you what park you want, and the first thing I'm going to tell you that applies to this whole application process is to be open to anything. If you really, really want this internship and you want to have a future with Disney, you really do need to be open to anything, because honestly, if you think about it, if you just really want to get a career with Disney and this be your first step to get your foot in the door, you could have a preference to work at, say, Walt Disney World, but say you get placed at Disneyland. It might be a little hard because it might be farther away from home for you, but if you really want to work with Disney, it's a great way to get your foot in the door. You're not going to say no if you get a job at Disneyland. And also, the role preferences, like say you wanted to get Bippity Boppity Boutique, and that is really hard to get into, and so you get merchandise instead. If you really want a future with Disney, you're not going to care that much and you're still going to accept it. So that's just a little tip for you guys, is just to be open to anything. When you do your park preferences, make sure you don't put down nothing, because it just gives you a lot more options to work with. So when I did my application, I did first choice Walt Disney World, second choice Disneyland, and then for the term I put first choice spring and second choice Spring Advantage, but for you guys it would be fall. And then just so you're aware, if you didn't know, Disneyland accepts a lot less people since it's only one park, so it's a lot harder to get into. So if you get into Disneyland, really good job. The rest of the application is basically just filling out previous jobs, social security numbers, birthdays, your name, just random normal stuff like that. And then near the end of the application, they're going to ask you for your role preferences. And there's a lot of roles that you can choose from, and you can put high, moderate, low, or no interest on each and every one of them. My tip to you that I didn't do is to make sure you research the roles, because a lot of the roles are actually like hidden gems of the DCP. Like when you see custodial, most people will put no interest in custodial because, I mean, who wants to clean up trash the whole time? But what you don't know about custodial is that if you look it up on Google or Bing or whatever, it'll say that custodial is the best role to get for the Disney College program, because you get to walk around, you get to meet everybody, you get to talk to the guests. It's basically just free range of the park in whatever area you're in. You can walk around, you can talk to guests, you can literally, not literally, but you can basically do whatever you want doing your job. Like if there's no trash around you and like no one threw up, I mean, you can just interact with guests the whole time, which is awesome. So you might want to put that as high interest instead of low interest, depending on if you want to do that or not. Yeah, so basically what you want to do is don't put, I mean, you can put no interest, like if you really, really don't want custodial because you really just don't want to clean up the trash, just put no interest for it. I mean, you can put no interest for a lot of them. Don't be too picky though, because that really shows that it just shows that you're really picky and you're not open to that much. So, and that's again saying being open to anything, because if you put down that you're interested in all of them or most of them, then you have a lot better chance of getting in than if you just say you wanted PhotoPass or Bippity Boppity Boutique. Because if you just say that you want PhotoPass or Bippity Boppity Boutique and then nothing else, then your chances are pretty slim. That's pretty much it for the application, and let's get on to talking about the web-based interview. So the web-based interview it's not that hard, but it's not that easy either, because they kind of want to see how honest you are and what kind of a person you are. There's about, I don't know how many questions there are. It takes about maybe 20 to 30 minutes to fully fill out the web-based interview. It is timed. Each question you have, I'm pretty sure it's 30 seconds to answer it, so they don't want you to like be thinking about anything too long. And so the questions are like, they put it's like those questions that's like strongly agree or strongly disagree. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you answer most of them strongly agree or strongly disagree, because you want them to know that you are like, I'm not really sure how to word it, but they like that. They like when you do that. I mean, if you are neutral about something, don't lie. Just say, you can put some for neutral, some for strongly agree, some for strongly disagree. But be yourself. Don't lie on the application, because they do look for that. They try to trick you on the web-based interview. They'll ask a question in the multiple choice part, like stuff like, what would you do in this situation, A, B, C, or D? And then it'll reword the question in like the strongly agree, strongly disagree section, just so they know that you're telling the truth, because they don't want dishonest people working for their company. So just watch out for that. If you're honest, it shouldn't be a problem, and the web-based interview should be a breeze. So that's just something to look out for, because if you're lying, they don't want you. This is my experience with the web-based interview. When I first heard about the program, I didn't research it at all. I just looked at it once and I was like, oh, that's cool, I'll try it, and I applied. And then when I got to the web-based interview, I did it right away, and I wasn't really looking, and I didn't know it was timed, and then it timed out. And then I called recruiting and I was like, hey, this is what happened, and they're like, oh, well, you failed anyways, so good luck again next time. So I didn't try, and I didn't really know anything about it. So the next time I researched it a lot, and I made sure I knew what to do. So what I did this time is I made sure I was home and in a quiet environment. I got accepted my original application was accepted, and I got the web-based interview invite on a Friday. And then I waited till the next day when my sister was with me and when my parents were with me, or my mom was with me, and I made sure that I was answering the right questions, because I might think something about myself, but they might say, oh no, you're not like that, you're like this. So I'm like, okay, because I'm not thinking clearly, because I'm like a little flustered. So that really helped to have them help me with the web-based interview, and just to have somebody there with you to help you through is just, I really liked having my sister and my mom there to help me through the process. It really calmed me down, and it relaxed my nerves, so I knew I wasn't answering questions that were not true to myself. How I mentioned that the web-based interview is timed. It is timed, and each question has about 30 seconds to it. So don't freak out if you miss a question or two because you can't decide what you are. You're like, oh, I do this, but I also do this. Oh, I can't decide which one should I choose. And then it switches to the next question automatically. Don't freak out because I think I missed one question and I still got accepted for my top choice. So let's just get talking about the phone interview. All right, scheduling your phone interview. So after your web-based interview, you're going to be prompted to a screen that says, hey, we emailed you a link to your phone interview to schedule your phone interview. So you're going to go to your email, you're going to click on the link, and then it'll send you to a screen that will give you a calendar, I believe, and then you just choose your date, and then it'll show you the available times. Now, what I recommend is to choose a date that is at least 3 or 4 days after your web-based interview because when I was doing mine, I had about a week and a half to prepare, and that week and a half was crucial to me because I had so much time to do all these notes. Oh my gosh, I researched so much. Researching your phone interview is just seeing what questions they're gonna ask you, Googling like DCP phone interview tips, DCP phone interview questions. There's a lot of blogs with sample questions on them. What a lot of people do is they like write the questions down during their interview, and then they'll make a list of all the questions they were asked, and that was really helpful too. So just search for stuff like that. It's really helpful because you can practice your questions. And then what I did to prepare for mine, what I did first is I just looked up a bunch of videos looking at tips, and then basically what I just did to prepare is I watched videos with sample questions on them, and on YouTube, and then I read blogs with sample questions on them, and then just made up a huge list of all the questions that I could possibly answer. And this is my list here. I have 90 questions on here. I have like, they're single spaced, these pages. Most of these were unnecessary, but what I did is I literally answered every single question, and I wrote down in a notebook what I would say, what I would like to say, and then so these are all my answers to all those questions that I showed you. I told you I researched it a lot. So what I did is I just, I read the questions and I wrote them down how I would answer them speaking to somebody. And then what you want to do is, for your phone interview, you don't want to have a bunch of papers and a bunch of cheat sheets in front of you. You want to just have like 1 or 2 cheat sheets with just bullet point answers, so you don't sound like you're reading off a script, because like Beth said in her video, that's what she did the first time. She read like all these, she wrote it down like I did and read off the script, and they could tell that she was reading, and then she didn't get accepted. And then when she made like a bullet pointed list, she got accepted. So yeah, that's what I recommend. If you can do it from memory, if you're comfortable with this stuff, that's really great. But yeah, so what I did is I wrote all these questions out, and then I went over them again, and then I wrote them in bullet pointed answers. Like what I would do is I would like test myself, and I would do this, I would read the question, then I would answer it in a bullet pointed answer, and then I did slim down the list because a lot of those questions were repetitive and just different wording. So I ended up just like writing down like topics, like these are the topics for like what would you do if you were overwhelmed, how would you make a guest's day, how would you make a magical moment, and then these are like info questions like how would the DCP help you professionally, why do you want to do the DCP, what would make you a good candidate, what does Disney mean to you, What can you offer the company? What does it mean to be a cast member? What does being in Florida mean to you? And then these are questions, like situational questions. Like these are like the top 5 questions that you will be asked. How would you handle repetitive tasks? Do you prefer fast-paced or slow-paced? How would you handle an emergency? Do you prefer to work alone or in groups? And how would you manage tasks if you were being interrupted by a guest? Those are some of the questions that I wrote down. And then I typed everything up, all the most important questions that I knew I would need help with, into 2 cheat sheets. And then, into 2 cheat sheets. And that's what I did. I just kept them right in front of me, and when she asked me a question and I didn't remember it right away, I would just go, okay, here it is, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't sound like I was reading it because it just says like one of the questions is, what will make you a good candidate? And I said, bubbly, smiling, always want to learn, experience in theme park, educated about Disney. So I would just talk about that. But yeah. One of the questions that I had a really tough time with was name 3 positive and 3 negative qualities about yourself. That's always a tough question because you know it's a trick question and you never know what they want to hear. And you don't want to do like a run-of-the-mill answer because that doesn't make you unique. But luckily they didn't ask me that. At the end of your interview, they're going to ask you if you have any questions, and you must at least have one question. And like I asked in my phone interview, like I said before, when you wanted to change your if you wanted to change your preferences, like they'll ask you, I forget what she asked me, but it was something about Walt Disney World. And I said, yes, I prefer Walt Disney World, and can I change my preference for the term that I wanted to do? And on my application I said spring, and then I changed my mind before my phone interview and I said I wanted to do spring advantage. So I did end up getting spring advantage when I was accepted. So it's not a problem if you change your mind before your phone interview. So I asked, I was confused at how the classes work, and she helped me about that. At Disney World, the classes are optional, and at Disneyland, the classes are mandatory. A really good one to ask is, how did you get started with Disney? And then they'll tell you your story, and they did start in the Disney College program because they are, because all the interviewers that interview you know what you're going through, and they want them to be able to relate to you. So those are usually college program alumni that are your interviewer. Another really good thing to do is when they do call you, they'll say, hi, my name is blah, 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 or are you whatever your name is. And a really good thing to do is to mention their name because that shows you're very personable. My interviewer's name was Andrea, and I wrote down her name as soon as she said, hi, I'm Andrea. At the end, I mentioned her name again, like, thank you, Andrea, I hope you have a she said, thank you, Alyssa, have a magical day. And I said, well, thank you, thank you, Andrea, I hope you have a magical day too. So that just always shows something good. It's always a good sign when when you remember her name. What else? Oh, this is also a very, very, very important part of the phone interview. You might not think so, but it really makes a difference. Make sure you smile during your phone interview because when you're talking, you can't tell, but there's a certain inflection in your voice when you're smiling, and you can hear that over the phone. And especially since these are Disney College Program alumni and they've been doing phone interviews for a while, most likely they have done a phone interview before, so they'll be able to tell if you're smiling and if you are happy, and it just makes a world of difference because Disney World or Disneyland, they're both the most happiest place on earth, and you can't not be happy when you're in your phone interview. So what I did, and I also got this tip from Beth, I made little post-its like smile, do your best, don't forget to smile. I made like 3 smile post-its. Relax, you'll be fine. What else did I write down? I wrote smile, be yourself, relax, have fun, talk slow, and you can do it. And I just put them on my desk, and so I could relax and hopefully have a good interview. And another thing that helped me is they can call 15 minutes before or 15 minutes after. And my recruiter, she was about 10 minutes late, and you can call early too, so you want to make sure you are ready at your desk about 15 minutes before. I would say 20 minutes before, in a quiet environment, nothing distracting you, relaxed, breathe, and it should be fine. I'm actually going to upload my phone interview on my channel probably right after this video, because another tip that really helped me was watching people's phone interviews, because you might think that's, I don't know, for some reason I thought it was like, why would I want to watch someone's phone interview, because I just hear that person answer questions. But when you see them do it, and it's, I don't know, when you see somebody doing the phone interview, it's just, I don't know, it makes it different, and it made me kind of relax a little bit, because I know exactly what's going to happen and exactly what she's going to ask. And you can kind of hear the other person on the line, and I don't know, it just really helped. So I really suggest doing that. I only watched one and it was enough for me, but you can watch as many phone interviews as you want. They usually last between 15 and 30 minutes. Some of them are really short and some of them are longer. So just depending on your interviewer. Mine was about 25 minutes long. It just depends on who you get to interview you. But they're always really happy, they're always really nice, and they know what you're going through. So if you're really nervous and they can tell that you're nervous, they'll be like, oh, it's okay, don't worry, you'll be fine, just relax. And it's really not that big of a deal. They're gonna ask you what role you think you're most qualified for, and then you're gonna say why. Like, I said I was most qualified for 2. I said bippity boppity boutique, I'm most qualified for that. For PhotoPass, it was like, I'm most qualified for PhotoPass because I worked in a theme park with photos doing almost the same thing. You want to make sure you have a good reason. Like, say you worked in retail, you would probably say, say you worked in retail all your life. You would say, I'm most qualified for merchandise because I've worked in retail all my life. It's nothing to get worked up over, although you probably will get worked up over it, because it's just a stressful process and you're really looking forward to it and you don't want to mess up or anything. But luckily, the interviewers, your recruiters, know what you're going through. They've been there, and it's just, I don't know, it's just comforting that they know what you're going through. So yeah. And when I was done, I actually thought that I did really bad on my phone interview, but then I ended up getting accepted, so I was good. Sorry if that video was a little too long, but all that research that I did pay off, and I was accepted into the DCP for Spring Advantage 2015, and I got my #1 role as PhotoPass photographer. So the research does pay off, and I am going to link my phone interview down below for you guys if you wanted to watch a real phone interview that I did for my DCP. So I wish you guys the best of luck on your applications. I hope you guys have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon. Bye, guys.